You know, he doesn't want to let her go, and he doesn't want anyone to let her go, but this is her fate. What's up, everybody? Citizen Kimberly here. Welcome back to the channel. And now it's time for an episode of Netflix and Chop, where we slice open and dissect the featured film. Today's feature we're going to be discussing is a 2016 Netflix original, a thriller titled Mercy. We're getting kind of an overhead view of some country land. I'm thinking Midwestern. We're panning over it. It's absolutely beautiful. It's green. It's almost like a Monopoly setup where there are little spaced out pieces of land over to the side, and then we kind of focus directly on a very spacious looking farmhouse. And then when we get up close on the farmhouse, we see that there's a man who's approaching the front door of the residence. He knocks on the door, and another man answers. And immediately we're sensing the tension. Through the screen door, they're having a conversation. We find out that the first gentleman that's approached the residence is a doctor. And he's talking to the man inside and he's saying, "Look, man, this is magic, what I have in this case." And he's got kind of one of those old school doctor, you know what I mean? And he's like, "Inside of this case is what's going to help your wife." And the dude from the door who's inside of the residence, of course he's the husband, he's like, "Here, what you have in this magic black bag. My wife is dying and there's nothing we can do." But the doctor dude is like, "There is something you can do. You can help her. She's in pain." And the dude from inside of the house is like, "You don't have any business saying anything. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let you in here to do it." And the doctor's like, "Look, you can just do it yourself. Help her. You can't let her suffer the way that she is." The husband from behind the door is just like, whatever. He opens it, takes the little black doctor old school bag, and shuts the door. Then we're going to flash to another young man. Let's just say that this dude is maybe like in his later 30s. He's wearing his little gray thermal and he's talking to some dude and he's like, "Oh, you owe this money and this sucks." And then we're gonna flash to a scene where we actually see the lady in question and she's in her bed. She's got everything hooked up to her, all the monitors, all of the beeping. You can tell that this person, or the wife and mother, is very sick. It's kind of it's an awful scene. If anybody knows what it's like to see someone that's terminally ill, this would be it. So we get it. So through dialogue, we understand that the lady that is ill, the wife and mother, has two children. Well, excuse me. Two sets of children. So she has two sons by a man that she was previously married to, and she has another set of sons with the man who she is currently married to, which is the dude who is talking through the door to the doctor. And we flash to a scene where the current husband is talking to his two sons. Now they're sitting down, and the black bag, which was brought previously by the doctor, is sitting on the table in this little country house kitchen that they have going on. The father, he's peeling this apple. He's having this conversation with the two sons, and he's like, "Look, your mother has inherited a lot of money when her first husband passed. I've made it so that this money goes directly to me, and when my time comes, all of that money goes to you." His two sons are kind of like numbnuts. And they're like, "Well, what about the other set of sons?" And he's like, "Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Like, look, man, I'm trying by giving you this money. If you keep talking about inheritances and passing away and in the exchange of hands, they're going to get hip to the game, and you guys better find yourself a really good lawyer, because it's just going to be a ballroom blitz when they find out what I've tried to do." So the two sons are like, "Okay." So after this conversation in the little kitchen, we flash to a scene where we have the older brother with the flannel thermal on, and he's doing some workout in the barn. I think he's chopping some wood or something like that. And the two numbnuts brothers, They walk in and they're like, hey dude, like, I just want to let you know that dad, he's like totally doing something shady. Of course, the thermal brother is like, what do you mean, dad? He's your dad. So automatically, we know that these brothers, these half brothers, they really don't like each other. We have some family dynamics which are completely and totally out of sorts and disheveled. No one likes anyone. So one of the numbnuts brothers, they tell the flannel shirt half brother that their father has completely cut the flannel shirt dude and his brother out of the inheritance game. Meanwhile, the other brother from the set of Numbnuts brothers is kind of like, dude, what are you doing? While the head honcho Numbnuts brother is like, shut up. So no one really understands at this point why the head honcho Numbnuts brother has told the flannel shirt dude or the thermal shirt dude brother what the deal is with the father, when the father has explicitly told the two numbnuts to be quiet about everything. So then we flash to a scene where we are introduced to the thermal shirt dude's brother, and he is with his girlfriend, and they're having this conversation, and you can tell that the thermal shirt dude brother really not looking forward to going to, we are under the assumption that they are making this decision about their mother's well-being, and he's making his girlfriend aware of what she is headed towards. So they get to the house, and while they're there, upon entry, they are greeted by the two numbnuts brothers, who are very harsh and really rude and nasty towards the blonde girl. They're basically telling her, look, you don't belong here, you know what's going on. Then the father enters. He's extremely rude. At this point, I wasn't even expecting for the father to be as rude as he was, but he basically tells the blonde girl, the girlfriend of the thermal shirt brother, that she has no business being here and she has no idea what she's getting into. So then we flash to a scene where the whole family has surrounded the ailing mother, and they're just looking at her. To the mother, and a little bit conscious, but she really doesn't care. So at this point, we can see that no one really cares about having any sort of family bonding or relations. They all hate each other. The girlfriend is like a deer in headlights. She just wants to be there to support her boyfriend. Really, the boyfriend, the brother, and the half-brother hasn't even introduced the girlfriend as his girlfriend. He introduces her as a friend, and I thought that was odd. Later that night, everybody's getting settled into wherever they're supposed to be sleeping, and we kind of enter the scene where the brother, thermal shirt dude's brother, and his girlfriend are sitting in bed, and they're on these little twin beds. The brother is like, I'm really sorry. The girlfriend kind of turns over and she's like, it's okay. And she asks him a pivotal question, which is sort of like, what did the other dude mean when he said, you don't know what's going on? And the dude explains to her, look, mother is ill, and there's a way that we can relieve her of her suffering, but nobody really wants to do that. And the girl is like, why? If she's suffering, then why can't you guys just, end it for her? If the result is the same, then why can't you just take her out of her misery? So while the brother is explaining to his girlfriend, from behind the door, we see that the father is actually listening in on the conversation, because I'm assuming that the walls are paper thin since you can hear every single thing that they're saying. And while the brother is explaining about the mother's situation in a kind of pieced apart, very vague way, the father is listening, and he looks like he is just wrenching, like his heart is breaking. And at this point, I'm actually thinking, well, does this dude love his wife? Like, is he in love? Like, and he just really doesn't want to, he doesn't want to let her go, and he doesn't want anyone to let her go, but this is her fate. and this is the way it's supposed to be, and there's nothing that God or anyone can do to make this decision, but the result will ultimately be that they come into some money, even though there's nothing that they can do because the wife is on her deathbed. So now I'm going to stop with the plot analysis, and I'm going to go straight into my thoughts on the film. So this movie was rated 2 stars on Netflix. You know, of course, I watched it all the way to the end, and I can point out probably a couple of things that would have given it such a low rating, because I do have to say that this movie was really good. I thought that it was good, and I think that the reason why so many people didn't like it was because of its choppiness. It was a little bit confusing. What I mean by confusing is that we have different sections that kind of just jump from one section to another, and not in a way that makes it legible. Like if I were reading a book and one paragraph just skipped to a completely different person, the thought process of a different person, then that, and we're talking about something else, that would lead me to be completely confused, and therefore I would give up on whatever it is I was reading. And it's the same thing that happened with this film. As far as the plot and the acting and the writing, look man, it was good. It had the potential to be a really awesome movie. The writing, although it may have been misleading, it does cause intrigue. I was thinking to myself last night, and I was talking to my sister, and I was like, look, you can mislead me all you want. When we're watching a film, being misled is kind of good because that leads to interest. But then when you get confused, that leads to anger, and you just don't want to have anything to do with it, and automatically the film is a miss. And I do believe that's what happened with this film. One thing that I will point out is that they do have a sequence where there is a flashback, but you aren't really led to know that it's a flashback. It just kind of fades into it. Usually there's like some kind of timestamp, and if you were to be watching it, I mean, I'm assuming that they want the viewer to just kind of figure it out, which we did. We figured out that this is a flashback sequence, and I think that probably perceived as annoying. But I have to say, towards the end of the film, it was a good twist, and it was a really good, it was a really good story. I might have to chop this movie up to its low rating and maybe people being a little bit annoyed to bad editing. Something within the editing was a little bit defunct and corrupt, which kind of degraded the film. But as far as I'm concerned, at least they did give the viewer enough credit to be like intelligent. They really tried with the ending and the wrap up. All of the actors did a really good job. All of the scenes were really intensified. All of the action scenes were really nice, even though it was limited action. And I enjoyed the film once the end was present. I will say that during the middle of the film, you will be kind of like, oh, this is stupid. Like everything leading up to the end of the film, even though it was well acted, might cause you to be a little bit annoyed. But the ending is all worth it. So just as a warning, not saying that this film is bad, I'm saying that it would lead some people to be very angry and probably led a couple of people to be slightly confused and give up on it. But I actually enjoyed it. So if you enjoy kind of suspense thrillers and things that are a little bit cerebral, not mind trippy, just a little bit cerebral, and has a decent twist at the end, then I would recommend watching Mercy. Just be forewarned that you will be a little bit confused. Other scenes where like you'll see some people running up the stairs and the girlfriend is supposed to be behind, but the girlfriend isn't there, but then all of a sudden she's in a room. It's little things like that kind of cause a little bit of disappointment and cause a problem with the viewing of the film. Other than that, you know, I wouldn't say that it's the worst film that I've ever seen. Definitely had the potential to be better than it was. It wasn't, but it's not that bad. So, I'm gonna leave you with that. Those are my thoughts on Mercy. Give it a shot if you kind of just want something to watch. At least you'll be a little bit surprised at the end. And that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having a really good day. I hope you're having a fantastic 2017. Whenever this goes up, it might be 2017. I hope you're having a fantastic 2017, and I hope your year turns out to be fantastical and you watch great movies and live your life and get your juice. And as always, until the next time, if you're into it, watch it.